Okay, so today we're going to look at the adversary system. Unit 4, Area Study 2 sets out that you need to know the major features of the adversary system, including the role of the parties, the role of the judge, the rules of evidence and procedure, standard and burden of proof, and the need for legal representation. Okay, so just to give an overview of the adversary system, it's the main system of trial used in Australia, where the two parties battle to win the case. There's strict rules of evidence and procedure that must be followed, and the judge and the jury are impartial arbitrators. So just to quickly go through the features again, we have the role of the parties, the role of the judge, the rules of evidence and procedure, the burden and standard of proof, and the need for legal representation. And we're going to look at all 5 of those elements today, and it's just important that you're able to give a good explanation of each of those features of the adversary system. The other thing you really need to be able to do is to say how each of those features contributes to the effectiveness of the legal system. Okay, so firstly, the role of the parties. In the adversary system, each party has control of their own case. They get to decide how evidence is presented, provided the rules of evidence and procedure are followed. They get to prepare their own case and present it. This is known as party control. So you may see it referred to either as the role of the parties or as party control in the adversary system. In the adversary system, parties are responsible for instigating the proceedings. So if it's a civil case, the plaintiff is responsible for deciding whether to go to court to sue the defendant, or in criminal cases, it's the prosecution who decide whether to charge the accused. They are responsible for investigating the facts of the case and preparing their case to the best of their ability. They decide which evidence to present, which witnesses to call, and which questions to ask. They're responsible for investigating the law, so they may bring forward relevant precedents in civil matters, or they may look at relevant defences in criminal law. And they decide whether to have a jury in a civil case. And importantly, they get to choose whether to have legal representation and the quality of that legal representation, so how much they're willing to pay for their lawyers. Party control in the adversary system ensures that parties obviously are responsible for the outcome of the case. They both have the responsibility to prepare their case, and then both sides will fight to win their case. Cases are heard without state interference. While party control does increase the cost involved because you have to pay for your own lawyer and you have to prepare the evidence yourself, it should ensure that the truth emerges, that the party with the best case should be the side with truth on their side, and the party that wins, therefore, will ensure that the truth emerges. The role of the judge in the adversary system is very important. They ensure that the contest is fair and impartial, that both sides have an equal chance to win. They decide on the admissibility of evidence, whether it's hearsay or opinion or illegally obtained evidence. They get to decide on questions of law relevant to the case. They ensure that the burden of proof is discharged, so the party who brings the case has to prove it to the required standard. And they decide the case when there's no jury and sentence the accused in criminal cases. The adversary system, it just wouldn't work really if the judge was not independent and impartial. They need to be an independent umpire that ensures the contest is fair for both parties. So they can't favour either side. And the idea is that the party, if the parties have an equal chance to win, then the party that has truth on their side should win, and the truth should emerge that way. So they shouldn't have previous knowledge of the accused in criminal cases or of either of the parties in a civil case. For example, they shouldn't have knowledge of prior convictions. They shouldn't be favouring either side. The burden and standard of proof in the adversary system, the burden just lies with the person bringing the case to court. So in criminal, it's the prosecution who's responsible for proving the case, and in civil, it's the plaintiff. The standard is just the strength of proof required in the case. So again, in criminal, that's beyond reasonable doubt, and in civil, it's on the balance of probabilities. So in a criminal matter, it's up to the prosecution to prove guilt beyond reasonable doubt, and in a civil case, the plaintiff needs to prove their case on the balance of probabilities. The burden and standard of proof really are essential elements of the adversary system. They ensure that the person bringing the matter to court has to prove their case to the required standard. Next, the need for legal representation, a very important part of the adversary system because they ensure that the parties are able to present their best case. Because the rules of evidence and procedure are quite strict in the adversary system, it's important to have legal representation who are familiar with those, who are able to present the case to the best of their ability. They're aware of people's legal rights and whether they've been infringed or not. They can give advice to that, and they really assist in achieving a just outcome. The idea with legal representation is that each party in the adversary system, if they're able to present their case to the best of their ability, then the truth should emerge. That the party that has truth on their side should win the case. And the adversary system works effectively when both sides are equally represented, if both parties have an equal chance to prepare their case and present their case. However, if one lawyer is better than the other, if they have a better understanding of the law, or if they're better able to influence the case, then that can bring about an unfair result. And that's particularly a problem if one of the parties is at a financial disadvantage. If one party can afford to pay for a better lawyer, then they have a better chance of winning the case in the adversary system. Next, the rules of evidence and procedure are an important part of the adversary system. We've seen throughout Unit 4 that we have strict rules of evidence and procedure in our legal system. The rules of evidence really aim to ensure that both parties get fair and equal treatment, that the jury is not distracted by irrelevant material like hearsay or opinion, and that unreliable or illegally obtained evidence is not heard, that the evidence presented is not unduly prejudicial to one of the parties, that the evidence should relate only to the present case. So in criminal matters, prior convictions are generally not allowed. The rules of procedure really are there to ensure that both sides are treated equally and fairly, that they both have an equal chance to present their case. They create an atmosphere of respect in the courtroom, so parties are more likely to follow the decision, and really they focus on the fact that the truth should emerge through questioning, that both parties have an equal chance to present their case. They both can call and question their own witnesses, and both parties get the opportunity to cross-examine the opposition's witnesses to test the strength of their evidence. So just to summarise the rules of evidence and procedure, the rules of evidence really are there to keep the contest fair, and the rules of procedure ensure that the truth should emerge through questioning. So that's really it for the adversary system. There's the 5 features: the role of the parties, the role of the judge, the rules of evidence and procedure, burden and standard of proof, and legal representation.